The Detroit Lions pass rush, we believe, is in need of some help. Aiden Hutchinson is doing it all by himself, and it makes you wonder, why haven't other players been brought up? We've got Mitchell Agude and Isaac Ukwu, who did pretty good in the preseason, but we have yet to elevate either one of those guys, going instead with James Houston, Josh Pascal, and Levi Onwuzurike. But this video, man, you see it on the thumbnail. We're going to talk about Mathieu Betts, and you can see I've made several videos on this guy, and my honest opinion is that he never had a shot. He never had a shot. And I think that it was a case of the Detroit Lions deciding to go with the draft pick over someone that they didn't draft. Now, you could say the same thing about Isaac Ukwu and Agude being undrafted rookie free agents, but they are still, in a sense, drafted. They're just undrafted. They picked up later. They're signed to the team later. They're UDFAs, right? So they were part of the draft. Mathieu Betts was never part of the Detroit Lions draft class, right? And I think that that makes a difference. But I've been asking myself the question since he was cut. And I've made several videos about this. And no, the pass rush by committee is not working. It's in the numbers, right? But my thing is this. We talked about this. Mathieu Betts, was he NFL caliber? I mean, do we really know? We don't really know, because in my opinion, he was never dealt a fair chance to actually be on the Detroit Lions roster. He really wasn't. You put James Houston and him in the same exact position. You say that they both were struggling, and you choose a guy who has done nothing for this team. He's done nothing for this team. Not a thing. Watch some film back from the Seattle game, saw James Houston get bullied to the ground, man. It was almost comical in a way, right? So this is spilled milk, though. No need to, you can't put it back in the cup. Mathieu Betts is not going to be a Detroit Lion. He is currently under contract in the CFL. He cannot, their season is not over until December. And the only way, if this guy goes from playing football, we've seen it before, the UFL, but you're talking about no break at all, going from, okay, whenever the UFL season, it's either December or November that it's over, then he comes back to a team that opted to go with the guy who did exactly like him, who he probably thought he was doing better than. For me, I mean, if I have a chance to be in the NFL, do I do that? Probably, because you never know what that door, do I want to shut the door of a potential opportunity that could change my life, right? So you might have to swallow your pride at that point. But it's clear, in my opinion, that James Houston was a mistake. Keeping him on this team was a mistake. Was Mathieu Betts letting him go not a mistake? I mean, listen, you could argue, I know what you guys are going to say. He wasn't able to make a 53-man roster. Mathieu Betts has never been on a 53-man roster, but James Houston has. He was also drafted by the Detroit Lions. He probably would make somebody else's 53-man roster too, all right? Another thing is, he was not claimed off waivers by any other team, by 31 other teams. Do you know how many players were picked up? The amount is minuscule compared to the amount. There were like 800 or 500 and something people waived. I think it's 500, between 500 and 800, and only about 50 were picked up. 50 players. Mathieu Betts was not one of those players. But there were several other players that weren't. Caden Davis. There was a lot of former Detroit Lions that weren't picked up through waivers. But we're all about, it's about giving a player a chance. Then you have somebody like Jake Bates, right? A lot of you guys were trying to write him off because he kicked in the UFL. Jake Bates has missed one extra point. I don't think he's missed a field goal, but he missed an extra point in 4 games. He's everything we thought he could be and more. He was given a chance. As a matter of fact, we didn't even bring in any kicking competition for Jake Bates because we believed in him, right? Now, of course, we're not there. We're not with those players, so we don't see the everyday, right? I just feel like this guy, I'm going to be real with you. What I think happened is he was cut in favor of James Houston. I believe that it was really a tough decision for Brad Dam. I believe that. And I think Mathieu Betts could have been like, you know what? I don't want to go on a practice squad. I want to go back to the CFL, because that's what I was hearing after I made my last video, that he turned down an opportunity to be on the Detroit Lions practice squad. That's what I heard. That's unconfirmed from my end. So, and I can't say I blame him. I can't say I blame him, man. You are a football player. You want to play football, right? But clearly, here's the thing. Was Mathieu Betts a mistake cutting him? We don't know. Was keeping James Houston a mistake? We know. Yes, it was, right? So why did I bring this up today? Well, because I saw this article from A to Z Sports. He talked about it. He's getting absolutely destroyed on Twitter. Twitter is quite the place, man. But before we do that, let's take a look. I want to show y'all this play that Mathieu Betts actually made in the CFL. Now, of course, this is CFL talent. We know that. These are, as The Rock would say, player number 54. All of these players are 54 through 90. Okay, it is what it is. But I want you to, this is Mathieu Betts. All right, and this is him right here. Nope, let me do that. Hold on, I don't know why my, oh, here we go. That's because I didn't have it highlighted. No, what is happening? Okay, I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time with this. Just stay with me 1 second, trying to do a couple things. Here's Mathieu Betts right here. All right, so just keep an eye on that player. I'm going to let this play. Look at what he's able to do in the CFL. Again, these are players 90 or 54 through 90. Actually picks it off. Look how fast he is, bro. I didn't know he was that fast. 70-yard interception return. Again, CFL talent. So I'm trying to say, we've seen this happen before. We've seen when players go to a inferior league and they dominate. And this is a perfect example of how this dude had 18 sacks. And look at him. He looks like he looks like an all-pro in the CFL. And we know that. We know that the talent is less. But did he have a fair shot in Detroit? I don't really think he did. And I don't think he did because we chose James Houston over him simply because James was a draft pick. That's just a honest opinion. And maybe we're trying to use him as trade bait. But it's funny, y'all in the comment section, y'all was like, nobody wants James Houston. I thought James was the man. What happened? What happened? Now nobody want him? That's crazy to me. And don't forget, the Lions got some people coming back from IR eventually. They're going to have to make room, and somebody going to have to go. I don't know who that somebody going to be, but somebody going to have to go. But here's what Mike said about what did the Lions make the right decision. I don't think they did, but here's what he had to say. He said, it's mostly no that they didn't make, that they made the right decision by cutting him, okay? The reason it's mostly no is because Betts really did struggle to grasp the NFL. The Lions tried to do multiple things with him and just couldn't nail any of them down. The other thing is that Betts is already 29 years old. If he were 25, there's no doubt he's on the Lions practice squad right now, and they're working to get him better. The splash of yes is that while Betts struggled, I think his current athleticism would have been enough to at least keep him on the practice squad this year and maybe get him an elevation or two with all the injuries happening. With that said, the Lions made the right move letting Betts go and sticking with young Isaac Ukwu. There's a lot more of a future there. Okay, so we're basing this off the future. Okay. That might be true. Isaac Ukwu, Mitchell Agude. But where are they? Where are they? We just continue to stick with James Houston. And like I said, unconfirmed rumors that Mathieu Betts turned down a spot on the practice squad. I cannot confirm or deny that. But so the upside is that Agude and Ukwu are younger, okay? But after this year, are they still on the Detroit Lions roster after that? Or do they start fresh? I don't think you sign practice squad players to multi-year deals. So if they're a non-factor 4 games into the season and we've had injuries on the defensive line, that's a quarter of the season gone already. Let me ask you this, and be honest. Let's say Mitchell Agude and Isaac Ukwu are on the practice squad. It came down between Mathieu Betts and James Houston. It's funny, man. Which one are y'all going to pick? Which one would you, if you could go back to cut day, which one are you keeping? Are you keeping James Houston or Mathieu Betts? I've told you guys this before. That game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, James Houston, that's to me when he won the job. He won staying on the team that day. I don't know what he did to convince the team. I think he got a sack and a half. He had y'all convinced. Never fooled me. He never fooled me, man. I think the upside to a bigger, stronger Mathieu Betts was more than James Houston. I think we can all agree that the novelty of Houston 2022 James Houston has worn off. Remember, the NFL is what have you done for me lately? Not for long. Y'all were holding on to James Houston all 2023. During training camp, I was telling you, he was nowhere to be found. He was running with the third team, right? Now we get to the preseason. He's a ghost. Shows up the last. Matter of fact, he's inactive one of the games. Now he is nowhere to be found. So let me know your thoughts, man. If you could choose, if you could go back in time, cut day, end of August, you got to pick between Mathieu Betts and James Houston. Which one are you picking? I have no dog in this fight. None of that at all. Y'all know that I've been the same about James Houston. Listen, if it's one position that I watch, it is the pass rusher position. And you need strength. You need power. You need speed. You need versatility. You need a host of moves. If you are going to bull rush someone, you have to be strong. Marcus Davenport was a strong dude. He really was. I don't know how many moves he had, but he was a strong guy. You've got Hutch, maybe not as big and strong, but he's got moves working on more. We know Hutch's signature move is a spin move. I don't know how a person spins and they wind up on track. I probably would be dizzy. So if you're going to have, you got to have multi talents, right? And I think the thing that got James Houston on this team is he was a draft pick, and maybe they thought that he would have some type of trade value. I know you guys say he don't have any. Somebody would take James Houston, and he'll be playing on the team immediately. I think he could be on somebody's 53-man roster. He might go over there and show out, but I don't know. And we've been talking about during the offseason that he just doesn't look the same. He looks like he might need a change of scenery. Now, this is all from a guy sitting in the basement. Just have to observe because I'm not in the locker room, right? So anyway, let me know your thoughts. Put in the comments below. Which one you keeping? If you can go back in time, which are you keeping, Betts or are you keeping Houston? So, Mathieu Betts, put Mathieu Betts or put James Houston in the comment section below. This channel is brought to you by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.